Thinking about moving to Charleston, South Carolina, or just want to know what it's like there? You are in luck. This episode, I have Yajaira Gaines, realtor in South Carolina. Say hi to everybody, Yajaira.
Hello, everyone.
This is Wanna Move There, the show dedicated to all humans all across the planet and from outer space or wherever, giving them the information they need to decide whether or not they want to move to an area outside of where they live, or if they want to get an investment property, or maybe visit or vacation, visit some family, or get a second home somewhere. It would help too. I'm your host, DerekBicksler, realtor of 15 years. I grew up on the hill, as we call it, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Went to Mechanicsburg High School in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Go Wildcats! And went up to Penn College of Technology in Williamsport, you guessed it, Pennsylvania. Born and raised here. Had a few sales jobs before I started selling real estate 15 glorious years ago, like I said. Call me if you need to buy or sell a home. Call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. I want to hear from you. We still need inventory fairly badly here in December of 2021, and we will talk to Yajaira in a minute about what it's like in her market. Whether you're watching live or on a replay, ask a question in the comments, or if you know one of us, hit us up in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. And if we don't see it while we're going here, which is quite possible because I don't see the guest sees the little dinger and I'm got too much going on to see the dinger and bring it up. So if we don't see, we'll come back and address your comments later. And the final reminder that replays are on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all the places, audio, video, wherever you like to get your content. It will be sitting there waiting for you. And now I will bring in Yajaira. And while I'm bringing up your bio to read that, say hello to everybody again and tell us the last movie that you watched.
Hello, everyone. Derek, thanks so much for having me on Wanna Move There. This is super exciting. I love Charleston so much that I'm excited to be able to share about it. So I'm not a big movie person, but the last movie I watched was The Chosen. It's this live streaming that's been going on for probably a year now, and they just had their first film in the movie theater. So that's what we just saw last week. Super awesome. The Chosen series has started on YouTube where they live streamed the story of Jesus. So yeah, we've been enjoying that. So it was fun to go watch it at the movie theater.
Huh. Is that a good, did it just come out in the theater for like Christmas time?
It did. Yeah.
Nice. And do your theaters there have the big giant seats that recline and everything? I feel like we just got those and the bigger places had those for a long time.
I feel the same way here. I know people have had them for a while, but we just got ours probably a year and a half to 2 years ago. They recline. They're super comfortable. You can lift your legs up. It's great.
Oh yeah, and if you're a couple, which I'm not anymore, but if I was, you could can't you you can flip up the little middle thing if you sit in two that are like in the same grouping
yes,
or
you
whatever.
can.
Or you could just buy two seats and lounge really big if you're by yourself. And it wasn't in 3D, I'm guessing.
It was not.
Was not, yeah. All right. I like it. Have you seen a 3D movie before?
I have the glasses and all.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I underestimated it. I go to Star Wars. Whenever a new Star Wars goes out, I go see it in 3D. And the first time I went to it, the first time I saw a 3D movie, everybody walking out had this kind of like dead stare, kind of zombie look on their faces. And I didn't understand why. Was the movie bad? Whatever. And then I came out the same way because you like get sucked into that world and it's like a lot. Yeah, it's fun. So I got your bio up here. You grew up actually in Bronx, so not where we're talking about. We'll talk about that a little bit then. You went to Aquinas High School. Did I say that right?
You did.
Aquinas with a long I. And you went to LeMoyne College, which we talked about is I don't know where the word LeMoyne comes from, but my office is in LeMoyne. I have lived in LeMoyne, and I know a lot about LeMoyne. So I'm going to look up LeMoyne College and see if there's some person, man or woman, named something LeMoyne where this comes from. Although you have a capital M in yours, I'm assuming it's still from the same root. But you studied sociology at LeMoyne College. Your favorite color, you said no favorite color, but when I pressed you in the pre-show, you said when pressed it would probably be green. Did you say forest green? Did you mention the type of green? If gun to the head, you had to pick one?
I just like tones of green. I always go towards that, whether I'm doing something, a new theme for the house or something that I'm going to wear. I like green.
Nice. All right. So next time they ask, you write green in that slot. And then favorite food, you like Italian? Any specific Italian? Pizza, pasta?
Pizza and pasta. I can do pizza and pasta every day, all day.
I feel you. I could do pizza Every day, all day for sure. Any specific place where you live, where you like to go?
There's a really awesome place here. It's a small place in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, in Bell Hall, Donatello's, and he's amazing. It's a
Is
family
his
owned.
name Donatello?
Hmm.
Do they have a turtle as their
They don't.
or I guess the Donatello, what is Donatello? It must have been some philosopher or artist or something to have had a
Yeah.
turtle named after him.
And he
You
serves
do have, what's
pizza,
that?
pasta, all the things.
Nice. So hit up Donatello's if you're in that area. You do have pets. How many pets? Cats, dogs? What do you got?
Cats, no. Dog, yes. I have a
That's what I
schnauzer.
should put as the
He's a mini
question. Cats or dogs?
schnauzer.
How old?
He is 11. We were just talking about yesterday. We were like, how could this be?
That's a little dog though, right?
Yes, yeah.
So they live like a long time.
15. A neighbor of mine had hers for 18.
So would you overlap? Would you get another one just right away, or would you take a break? I guess those
I
are the
don't know
three
if I would get
choices.
another one. We got that dog for my girls when we first moved to Charleston. We promised them a dog when we bought a house and we got a fence up, and they held us to it. But I don't think I would get another one.
I agree. Once you, even if you like it, like when mine went down, well, that right there, I don't want to go through that again, watching my dog be put to sleep, yada, yada. But also, the added benefit of not sweeping up hair all the time, all of a sudden, my allergies went away. My whole life, we always had cats and dogs growing up. I've always had allergies. We just have allergies. And then I had dogs on my own. And then when it died, half my allergies just vanished, and you can
Yeah.
go on vacation. So I feel you there. But I also have kids and might get roped into getting a pet at some point. So we'll see what happens. And you do have kids, like you mentioned. You have three of them. You are married to Keith, and your hobbies are going to the beach and baking. What do you like to bake? Do you have anything that's like your signature thing?
Cookies and pound cakes are my go-to. Anytime I'm going to go to a party or drop anything off, cookies and pound cakes.
So is pound cake is just a pound cake, or do you do something with the pound cake, or stack the pound cake, or does icing go on the pound cake, or what happens with a pound cake?
Depends on the season. So I'll do a pumpkin pound cake, or I'll do like a spiced cinnamon pound cake, or just plain butter pound cake.
Gotcha. So
Secret
you
sauce.
flavor the cake itself.
I do.
People use pound cake with strawberry shortcake too sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the bomb. Feel free to make some of that during strawberry season and send it up my way here. And then the beach. We'll talk about that because you probably have beaches you can get to a little bit easier than we can up here. And then you told us your last movie was Chosen, and you said you watched that series.
I did.
What is it on? Netflix?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they do
I'm gonna
have
to
an
check it
app.
out.
They do have the Chosen app. You can watch it on as well.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha. So after college, you studied sociology. Did you do something with sociology, or did you go right into selling real estate, or how'd you get
I
from
didn't do
college to here?
anything at all with sociology. I actually didn't graduate from college. I ended up having a baby at the age of 19. So that kind of shifted the trajectory of everything I was doing. But I went into hospitality and did hotel management for a total of about 6 to 7 years. And then I kind of stayed in the hospitality arena, worked for vacation clubs, and then made the shift to real estate.
So was that sales at the vacation club?
It was sales and reservations mostly.
So was that like a timeshare? Was that what it would be, or is it some other?
It was.
How was that? Did you like it? Dislike it?
I loved it there because I love helping people. You know, I knew I would get the call for them to plan a vacation. I knew where they wanted to go, what the occasion was, and to help them plan that, I really got a lot of satisfaction out of helping them pick the location. And it wasn't very sales driven. Most of the people that were calling in, they knew where they wanted to go next. They planned their stuff years in advance. And it was an awesome place to work. The company was great as well. The shift happened for me when it became very salesman driven, and you had to have a certain quota and you had to offer certain products. I had worked with customers for years, and there were products that I knew they would not buy. They weren't going to be able to take advantage of them. And even if they bought them, they weren't going to use it. And it was in me to try to sell a product that I knew wasn't going to be a benefit to them. So after getting dinged a couple times, I said, okay, I'm out.
So then what did you do? Did you just get your license then or what?
I did. I immediately got my license after that. And it'll be my 8th year in July doing real estate.
Okay. And which was it your kid that you had at 19? How old was that kid at this time when you made the transition?
7.
Okay.
8. 7 or 8. We moved to Charleston when she was 7. So right around 8 years old.
All right. I wish I would have started having kids a little bit earlier, because I had a friend who had one like at 19, I think. And then he started they just kind of got married and kind of started their family. And now he's like, it's the best. They're gone. I got all my money back again. And I just started. I just had twins at 40 and they're like 3 years old. And I'm hoping I can still run when they want to play basketball and stuff. Meanwhile, he's living it up.
As long as you keep it up now, you will. We started our kids are 20, 14, and 7. So
you staggered them perfectly. It sounds like you're due for one. It's like every 7 years almost, every 6 to 7 years. You might have a couple years left to stick one in. So you've been selling real estate for about 8 years, and that's a great transition to bring up the map of Charleston, and we'll start talking about Charleston, where you are down there. Can you see that? I didn't share it, did I? All right, there we go. And we can see, I like to pretend like people watching don't know anything about geography, including me. That's really. So we can see that South Carolina is down here on the east coast of southeast, I guess, of the United States. And you see the pin there of Charleston, and I'll zoom in so you can get an idea of where it is. Pretty close to right on the coast. Who's pinned that? I have somebody saved right there. Is that you? Latoya. There you go.
Latoya's on my team.
I got to add you. All right, so I'm going to read the blurb. Right now it's 60 degrees down there, so we are like 40 degrees up here maybe, so a good 20 degrees warmer at the same time. It does look like it's a little bit cloudy down there right now, but yeah, and we're used to that up here, so that wouldn't be any different, and I think that's more of a rarity for you, so that's all right, and we'll talk about that in a second, and I'll read Google's quick facts here. And you can tell me if these are accurate at all, too. Charleston, the South Carolina port city founded in 1670, is defined by its cobblestone streets, horse-drawn carriages, and pastel antebellum houses, particularly in the elegant French Quarter and Battery districts. The Battery Promenade and Waterfront Park both overlook Charleston Harbor, while Fort Sumter, a federal stronghold where the first shots of the Civil War rang out, lies across the water. So it sounds like there's a lot of history there. You have a lot of history and old stuff around town.
It really is. Definitely a historic city.
Oh yeah, historic market and everything. We'll talk about that in a second. So tell me about the landscape. Is it like beachy? Is when you land there and look around, this picture that they have up right there is palm trees. So is it flat, kind of like people would picture a beach place?
It really is. It mostly is flat. What I love the most about Charleston is, yes, it's a historic city, and there's so much rich history here in whether you're at Middleton Plantation and you're learning about slavery, or you're over in Fort Sumter and learning things about the war. It's also a big military base area. I think Charleston houses about 90,000 military here in the city. And there's such diversity with the food, with entertainment. Markets are huge. Almost every community has its own market. So on a Saturday afternoon, you can easily walk out or take a drive or a bike ride and find your closest market to get fresh produce, and locals are selling all the things there as well.
Nice. And then are there Are there farms close by? Tell me about like the country, and are there hills, are there mountains, that kind of thing?
No mountains, not many hills, but we definitely have farms in the area. And many of the people that migrate here from that move here from other places, they do, that are used to having a lot of land, they do ask about acreage and, can we have chickens? Can we have goats? Can we have horses? So we have a little bit of everything. I kicked and screamed when we moved to Charleston almost 12 years ago because I was living in Tampa, Florida. And I was like, I don't want to be in Charleston. I don't know anyone there. And I would not want to be anywhere else today. It is such a beautiful city. The people are amazing. And there's always something to do.
And then what? So it's pretty flat there. You're pretty close to you're on the coast. So do you get hurricanes? Does it rain a lot? Tell me about the weather a little bit.
We do get hurricanes. I live in Summerville, South Carolina. It's a smaller historic city. And for the most part, we kind of get lucky and we don't get direct showers or heavy rains from any hurricanes. But the coast does, and they've had to evacuate a lot of times. We have a running joke with a lot of my friends that whenever a hurricane is coming, they can all come to Summerville because a lot of them are like right on the coast or in Mount Pleasant. And we were always like, our doors are open, we'll have power. But it is a beach town. You can run into water pretty much anywhere you are in Charleston.
And is it cloudy a lot? I talked about it a little bit. I'm assuming it's not.
Beautiful blue skies. If you've heard me before, I always say, this is Yajaira from beautiful, sunny blue skies, Charleston. It is absolutely gorgeous for the most part. It's cloudy today, which means that it's raining. And you want to give yourselves a little more time to get out there because we really don't know what to do when it rains.
What about snow? Do you get any of the freezing precipitation? Snow, sleet, freezing rain, any of that?
Last time, however, that we did get snow was when we were visiting to move here. And we got snow flurries. And then we got another snowstorm, probably about, I want to say about 8 years ago, where we were able to make a snowman, make snow angels. We went crazy.
So how much snow was that, do you think?
A couple inches, and it didn't last at all. It was gone by the next day.
I was going to say, I told you I had Don yesterday or whatever day it was, and he was talking about like last year when all the South places kind of got some freakish winter thing, and people were outside with like half an inch trying to make snowmen and stuff. Just I'm picturing you kind of, because 2 inches, we would be like, that's not even worth going outside for.
And we shut down because our vehicles aren't equipped to drive in that kind of weather. A lot of us aren't equipped to, I grew up in upstate New York, so I was, I'm used to driving in that kind of weather. But for the most part, people here are not. So everything shuts down. We're home. When it does get really cold, our schools even have a delay time for opening because the school buses need to be able to warm up, and they need to evaluate, is it safe for the school buses? Is there going to be black ice? It's a whole situation.
That's pretty. It's just better off just shut it down for the day. I think that's better. With Zoom these days, they're pretty easy to do it. They're like, yeah, just shut it down. Yeah, and then so it's a little bit warmer than here. How hot does it get? Does it get like super hot, or what's the top end looking like?
It gets super hot. I love hot weather. I will take heat over cold all day long. I think this past summer we were close to 100 degrees. And that was probably like smack in the middle of July. And then obviously we do get that 80, 90 degree weather year pretty much throughout the summer season, which is a long summer season. I'm thinking maybe late March into maybe even early October this year, we still had 80 degree weather. Last week we were in the mid 70s.
That's the sweet spot. I think the 70s is where it's at. That's where whatever most people set their house thermometer to, that's probably what the perfect outside would be. Usually that's like 71.
That's true.
I'm a 67 dude, but maybe up to like 73 or so. But So something I didn't ask you under the landscaping heading, but still has to kind of do with the weather, climate, whatever. Trees, are there palm trees like I saw in that picture, or do you have like oak and pine trees like we have in the north, or what's the forest like? If you went to an overgrown area, what does that look like?
We are known for oak trees here in Charleston and pine trees, but mostly oak trees. There's a place called Angel Oak, which is like the most gorgeous oak tree in the area. And people go there, take photos. There's things to do there. Pine trees, I want to, or palm trees are brought in. Those I don't even believe they're even grown here, but we do have them because it makes the landscape so pretty. But pine trees and oak trees is what we're known for.
Awesome. I like those better. And so somebody should start sharing some pictures on the Charleston, South Carolina, Google My Business thing of the actual trees, because right now it's showcasing something that looks like Florida or something. I'd rather see the oak
I will
trees.
send you some.
Nice. And then what's the commute like? Are people living in Charleston, like downtown and living there, or are they living in suburbs? And how long is the commute for the people that are commuting?
It's going to be across the board. I know that a lot of people that move to the area, my first question is always, how do you feel about sitting in traffic? Because we're growing so rapidly that we have traffic jams. You know, depending on where you're going, you might sit in traffic for 20, 30 minutes before you're home. And I think that's happening in a lot of the major cities, but we are seeing such rapid growth here that it's a valid question to ask, because if you're wanting to save that 30, 40-minute commute where you're not sitting in traffic in your home, having dinner with your family versus being in the car, it's always something to look into. But traffic is definitely a thing here.
And does everybody work, like, are all the jobs like in Charleston? Is everybody commuting in and out of the city, or are there other kind of office centers scattered?
We're a big city with, we have Boeing here, we have Cummins here, Volvo is big here. They opened up a plant a couple years ago. And then we have the ports. So a lot of the traffic that you're going to see on the major interstates and even on our bridges are going to be traffic for those trucks that are going back and forth from the ports. So it does play a role in that. I see that a lot of the people in the medical field, a lot of those people are living downtown or near those hospitals. But for the most part, the majority of the people in the area here, they're going to have a 20 to 30-minute commute to work.
Gotcha. And then what about public transportation? If people don't want to own a car, or is there, first of all, in the city, is there a bus line and all that? And then if you're on the outskirts, can you get into your job if you needed to?
We do have public transportation here. It's not a broad public transportation where it doesn't really go everywhere like most major cities. I'm from New York, so when I hear public transportation, that could be your only means of transportation. It isn't here. Bus stops are going to be in major areas like your mall or a major location where there's going to be a lot of people that can hop on to it from there. But for the most part, public transportation isn't a thing in Charleston. Not yet. I know they're looking into a lot of things and adding some incentives for people to carpool, to lessen traffic and things like that. But public transportation is not a reliable thing here yet in Charleston.
No train? Do you have like an Amtrak station where you could go anywhere?
Not right in Charleston. I want to say that we have, not Amtrak, Greyhound, but that's bus. So no public train transportation.
Okay. And then I had something else I was going to follow. Oh, you toll roads. Do you have toll roads? Easy Pass?
No.
No to both of those.
No.
Huh. I feel like there's no toll roads in South Carolina. Do you know what the Easy Pass is?
I don't.
Huh.
We don't
All right.
have any toll roads here.
I guess I just assumed there were toll roads everywhere. So Pennsylvania, I'm learning that some places don't have toll roads, and the Easy Pass is just this thing you pay for, and it's a little thing you stick so you can drive through. Yeah. But it works like if I drive to New Jersey or other states that have Easy Pass, it works everywhere. And I think they have Easy Pass maybe in California. But I just assumed it was everywhere, but I'm learning that it is not. And some places don't have toll roads at all. So, all
And
right.
when we first moved here, Derek, and we would travel back to Florida to visit family, I mean, after being here for a while, we completely forgot about toll roads. So we weren't used to having coins in the car or traveling with cash. So we would go through and get that extra hit on, a 25-cent toll would be $3.50 because we didn't have a way, we weren't prepared for it.
Yeah, totally. At least these days now, you if you don't have change or an easy pass, they do it by license plate, which begs the question: why do I even need to get the easy pass then? Because I could just sign up for an account and you could take whatever. So, all right, no toll roads down there. And you mentioned some of the employers already, Boeing and Volvo, and it's a huge port and logistics hub down there. So I'm assuming there are a lot of other industries. Do you have Amazon warehouses? A lot of warehouses too.
We do. We have a Amazon warehouse in the area that probably opened up probably about a year ago. We have a major Walmart plant coming to the area as well. They're getting ready to break ground. And Mercedes is a big one here as well. We have several Mercedes plants. I know they have a van center local in the area as well.
Huh. So you got some high-end car manufacturers down there, Volvo and Mercedes, and the ports and the warehouses. Do you have medical? You mentioned people in medical center. Is there a specific medical, like, dominating entity down there? We kind of have Penn State. Hershey kind of owns the biggest and is gobbling up all the other medical stuff, but maybe there are a couple systems. But so is it same down there?
It is. We have two major ones, probably even three now, because Roper was, I think, at the bottom of the totem pole, and they're growing as well. But we have what would be called MUSC, which is Medical University of South Carolina, and they just opened a huge children's hospital that was so needed. It is a gorgeous facility. And then we have East Cooper and Roper that I just mentioned as well. So big medical community.
And then what about colleges? You mentioned one college there. I'm guessing there's a bunch because the weather's so great. Everybody would love to stay there for a semester or
right in
how
downtown.
many? 16 semesters. No.
Yeah.
How many semesters does it? 8 semesters takes 4 years.
A couple extra because the city's so great, right?
Right.
Yeah, we have College of Charleston right in downtown. So, just a few steps away from the heart of downtown Charleston with the cobblestones and Rainbow Row and the shopping. Yeah.
And then military. What's the military presence? A base or what is it?
We have an Air Force base here.
Okay. Anything else? Is it like do you have sorry. I'm trying to think of what it's called. A military hospital.
We have several VAs, but not a military.
Yeah, that's what I meant. A VA hospital, I guess.
Yeah. We do also have, there's a huge base in the North Charleston area as well that we get a lot of military personnel in from. And we have the Citadel College. It's a huge piece of that military family too.
And then what's the capital of South Carolina?
Columbia.
And how far from you is that?
From where I'm sitting right now, probably about an hour, 15, 20 minutes. But from downtown Charleston area, probably about close to 2 hours.
Okay. And what would you say the biggest is? Charleston like the most major city of South Carolina, or?
It is, yeah. Charleston's one of your major cities, at least where you can have all the fun, all the people, all the food.
And then what about tourism? Is that an industry as well, or is it not? Is it more people that live there?
Tourism is huge here. We have a saying amongst our locals that we get to vacation here because we have a variety of so many things just within close distance. A lot of the locals here and even people that come to vacation here, boating is a big thing since we're right on the water. Fishing, hunting as well here. I think sports-wise, obviously, college sports is big here in the area because we have Clemson, we have South Carolina University. Where would you
go? Would you go to one of those stadiums for like concerts? Where would you go see a big concert? One of those places?
Probably, we haven't had concerts in the area in a while, given, everything that's going on in the past 2 years. But yeah, for sure, would probably be the Coliseum before it would be one of the stadiums.
And do you usually get like the biggest acts usually stop there, or would you have to go drive somewhere else to see? I'm trying to think of somebody other than the person I want to come. I always say Justin Bieber every episode. I say, where we go? Somebody go see Justin Bieber. And every episode I say,
we wouldn't see Justin Bieber in Charleston. We'd probably have to drive to Charlotte, North Carolina, or to Atlanta to see the big ones like that. But we've had Lauren Daigle. I'm not even gonna remember some of the other big people that we've had in the area as well. But they go fast. So the moment you know about it, I think you need to be on those like secret lists. I think right. American Express offers their holders like advanced ticketing. That's probably the only way to get onto those concerts here.
Huh. What about theaters? You have smaller theaters too? That's my jam. I'd rather see something in a theater anyway. You won't catch me at anything in a stadium.
Yeah, we do have a lot of improv plays in the area. We have some in downtown Somerville, and I know for sure we definitely have some in downtown Charleston.
Some like old historic cool theaters too, probably, right?
Yeah, there's actually a big one, the Gaylord, and they opened about 3 or 4 years ago. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. About 4 years ago, we went to a Christmas concert there that was put up by a local church. But the facility was just absolutely gorgeous. So that's exciting to be able to get more and more things come to the area through that location.
Yeah, tons of history down there too. So if somebody was coming to town and visiting for a few days, is there like a number one history thing? If they said I'm a history buff, I got time for one thing, where would you send them as far as history goes? Here it would be Gettysburg Battlefield, probably.
Yeah, I would probably say Middleton Plantation because you can stay there. They have a hotel on property. They have restaurants. And then you could really enjoy the grounds and the tour that they offer at Middleton. So if you can only do one, I would say Middleton Plantation. But we have Drayton Hall. We have Magnolia. There's so many awesome, awesome places.
And you can visit the plantation even if you don't stay there to like for dinner or something or for a tour or whatever?
You sure can.
And you've been?
I have been.
Because a lot of times people come on here and I actually never been to this place, but.
Yeah, it's great. With nice. One thing the past 2 years that has slowed us down in traveling outside of the state is staying close to home and being able to visit, the different places. So many times we just think about going far. But there's so much to really do here in Charleston and just vacation at home.
And especially that kind of stuff, which we've got a good bit of history here too. And you take field trips to all these places, and you've been to all these places a million times. Every year we take a trip to the Capitol, but you never listen to any of it or really pay attention. So it's fun to go back as an adult and actually maybe pay attention, learn something, maybe take it in a little bit. So that's cool. Do people... What was I going to say? Oh, festivals, pop-up festivals, that kind of thing, like First Fridays, Arts Fests, Brew Fests, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that going on.
There is. We have a jazz festival. We have a Hispanic festival. We have an African-American festival. There is so much culture here in Charleston that we do get to enjoy a lot of that stuff with live music, family-friendly atmosphere. There was another one. I'm trying to remember the most recent one that we just had that everybody absolutely loves. And of course is escaping my mind.
Some kind of Christmas thing going on probably right now, right?
Well, yeah, we have your normal Christmas tree lightings in all the cities, in the town of every city. We have Festival of Lights. That's at James Island County Park. We have some amazing county parks here in Charleston. Our county parks are so awesome that a lot of times, instead of having like a YMCA membership, people will have a county park membership because there's so much to do when you can park hop between all the different county parks.
But you have to sign up for it though.
Yes.
Huh. And does it cost something, or it's just like a minimal charge just to make you have to do something?
County park membership.
Huh. And then what
Obviously,
about
you have day passes, but you can definitely do the yearly memberships.
gotcha. And then what about food? You touched on food a few times a little bit, but what's the food scene down there? You said there's a lot of culture down there too, African festival, Latino festival, all these things. So tell us a little bit about maybe
You
your
can,
favorites and then food in general.
yes, you can find a little bit of everything here. My family's from the Dominican Republic, so I always tend to kind of go towards more, my Latin food. But we have everything here. Obviously, we're on the coast, so seafood is a big deal. We have some major restaurants that have been given some pretty big awards for their food, right in downtown Charleston. We also have Shem Creek, where you're going to find three awesome restaurants right there, right on the water. And but you can find a little bit of everything. Like you can find food from Brazil, food from Ukraine, food from the Caribbean. There's just a little bit of everything here.
Do you have fireworks on like July 4th and that kind of thing? Multiple?
Absolutely. Multiple shows.
And do you drop anything for New Year's Eve? Up here we have Dillsburg. They drop a pickle. We have Mechanicsburg, where I went to high school, and they drop a wrench. And the city of Harrisburg drops a strawberry. Anything there, or is that just something strange that Pennsylvania does?
I've never heard of that, so I'm going to have to look into it and see if Charles anything like that. I don't believe so, but it would be fun to know if they did for sure.
If they don't, you should start it. They should drop an anchor. It's a port. It's basically a port town,
Love
right?
that. Or a pineapple. We're known for pineapples in the South. It's our symbol of hospitality.
Is that indigenous? Because pineapple's like a bush. That's not a palm tree. That's coconut. A pineapple grows on a bush.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about vacationing? So you said you live on vacation there. So if you were, let's start with a driving vacation. If you were driving to a vacation, are you going to go to a different beach somewhere? Or are you going to drive to the mountains or something?
I am a coast person. You won't find me on a mountain. But I can beach it all day long. We have several beaches here in Charleston. From Somerville, you're probably about 40 to 45 minutes from Isle of Palm, about 55 minutes to Kiowa. Kiowa was one of my favorite places to go because coming from Florida and they have the powdery beach sand, they brought that sand in at Kiowa. So it's very beachy, probably the closest I can get to the Caribbean here in the area. And then obviously we have Folly Beach as well. Folly Beach is very laid back. You have all the shops along the beach there that you can visit. Awesome restaurants, and the same for Isle of Palms. Kiowa is more of is a very nice town, and you're going to have their market area that's going to house their restaurants, their shops, their boutiques, their grocery stores are going to be all in one location. Where Folly Beach and Isle of Palms, you're going to find a bit more of a variety right on the beach street there.
And do people surf? Are there waves? Is it that kind of beach?
Well, you can surf. Now, I'm not a surfer. Most surfers would be like, I'd rather go to LA or something. But yes, we surf here. Most people in Charleston will probably earn a surfboard or two.
And any sky sports? Do people skydive or like little private airports and pilots? A lot of times beach places, the things to do are water stuff and air stuff because there aren't any mountains to do mountain stuff. So isn't North Carolina's like the birthplace of flight or something, right?
Yeah, so we do have private airports. I believe we have 2 private airports in the area. I have not seen, and I spend a lot of time at the beach, I have not seen too much of skydiving or parasailing or anything like that in our area. Jet skis, yes, but I haven't seen any other water sports.
And then if you got to fly somewhere, you want to take a vacation somewhere far away, where's the closest airport? Or maybe name a couple. A lot of times there's an all right one kind of close, and then you've got to drive a little bit to get to a better one.
We have one, Charleston International Airport. And we don't have many direct flights to like major international locations. You're probably going to have a layover in Atlanta, Charlotte. Those cities are probably the closest ones when you're taking an international flight.
But you could drive to Charlotte. How far would that? That's
Absolutely.
far.
About 4 hours.
Okay. So it might be worth it sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. We have Harrisburg and then you got to go a couple hours to get to something else, but sometimes it's worth it just to get the better flight or whatever. But then I can't get my Uber. I hate checking my car in for some reason. I like just being able to Uber over to the airport or get dropped off or whatever. Anything else you want to add about entertainment or stuff to do? Any outdoor activities? You mentioned boating, fishing, hunting, you said. What are we hunting? There are oak trees and regular
Deer.
woods. There just aren't hills and mountains. So is deer?
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, as we see the rapid growth in Charleston, we kind of do, starting to see a lot more deer signs because those deers are having to go to different places as we continue to build and grow in the area.
Gotcha. So then I wonder if places, do they up the quota of like licenses that they'll issue or make it cheaper to get your license to go hunt deer or something? But that's also a tourist thing. Up here, it's a huge tourist thing. People come from all over. So they kind of protect the deer hunting and they stock the creeks with trout every year. And that's a tourist thing too. So
Wow. Okay.
all that
I know
outdoor
that.
stuff can be amenities. So now let's talk about everything that the thing that everybody needs to know if they're going to move there is what can they afford when they come here. Here in central Pennsylvania, we're coming from probably like 300,000 to get entry level. I'd say 250 maybe a year or two ago, but now it's probably around 300 to get into a 3 to 4 bedroom. Might be a ranch, might be a 2-story. Probably get a 2-car garage at 300 on 0.2 acres, and that would be like an 80s or 90s built, not new for sure, and maybe even a 1900, 1910, 1920 house for that. So how does that compare down there?
It's pretty similar. I know that right now in our area, because inventory is so low, you're getting those houses from the 90s and early 2000s be valued at the same price as if you were waiting to build. So we're up there in the mid 300s for the most part for a good size, or not even good size. You know, it could be 15 to $1,800 or 1,800 square foot home. A 3-bedroom could go for about 330, 340, 350. So big change from about, a year to 2 years ago. And then obviously we have homes here in historic Charleston that can go up into the $6 to $7 million as well.
And are those houses like those historic ones that people renovate, or are people allowed to renovate? There are some probably that you can't touch inside and or outside, right?
Yeah, so Charleston's big on historic preservation. So we have a historic preservation committee or a board that you have to kind of pass things through for them to approve, and you have certain stipulations to abide by. Huge on that. I've seen so many. We're building a home in the downtown Somerville area now, and a lot of those historic homes that are being rebuilt, I love having conversations with those builders and contractors because it's fascinating the kind of stuff that they get to make sure that they keep, to preserve the look of what Charleston history looks like. So there's a lot of that, but those homes are even going to be more expensive, especially once they go through that historic preservation renovation.
Yeah, that's not cheap to keep it the way it's supposed to be. And even if they do allow you to redo it, a lot of time you have to use the same material and build it in the same manner and all that kind of stuff. So it gets really expensive.
Big
Yeah.
process. But it's beautiful. The houses here in Charleston, we're known for a lot of color. So downtown Charleston has what's called the Rainbow Row. And these are houses that aren't too wide. They're more narrow and straight up. You're going to have your porches. We're known for those big wraparound porches here in Charleston as well. So you'll see that kind of bleed into the different neighborhoods out inland more as well. It's a beautiful city. The homes here and the different builders that we have in the area really take a lot of detail in planning what type of floor plans and homes to bring into the area. So that's always neat to watch too.
And then are there HOAs? Obviously in the old town, historic districts, and in those places there probably aren't, but all this new construction that's happening, the newer the stuff is, the more HOAs pop up. So do you have them? And then to what level? Are they gated with golf courses and all that stuff?
It's a little bit of everything. We have several golf communities here in the Charleston area, and most neighborhoods do have HOAs. The majority of the neighborhoods here are going to have HOAs. The older ones might not, but any newer community, I'm thinking 2000 and above, will most definitely probably 90% of the time have an HOA. And those are going to range depending on the amenities that they offer and even by location. You know, some communities will have a high HOA with no amenities, but that HOA is working to preserve the look of that neighborhood, and are charging as if they had amenities. So those are all good questions to ask while you're looking for your move to Charleston.
And then for those people that do want a bunch of land, 5, 10 acres, something like that, how far out would they have to go? We talked about it a little bit, but so how far outside of Charleston would you have to go to get something like that?
Probably about 40 to 45 minutes. So not bad.
And you'd be on well and septic. Is it easy to do well and septic there?
You would be on well and septic. In a lot of neighborhoods, which is something that I learned early on here doing real estate, was engineered septic, you know, which is going to be a lot more expensive than a regular septic. And a lot of these neighborhoods that have, you know, 1 to 4 acre lots, you're going to fall into that engineered septic, which adds $20,000 to $30,000 more to your home build.
And then what about that in the luxury market, $1 million, a couple million, 5, what, I don't know how high it would go. Are those people looking at those downtown houses, or are they looking at big mansions on 5 acres, or everything in between? What's the luxury market like?
It's going to be a little bit of both. We have, you know, luxury market, you're thinking Kiowa, and we would be thinking Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, or downtown by the Battery. But our area has been growing so rapidly, and we have some awesome options as far as living and lifestyle. We have the Nexton community, we have Carnes Crossroads, we have Cane Bay, and then you head over to North Charleston as well, where you're going to have Whitehall, and they back up to water. So you're going to find some houses in there that are going to be close to that $800,000 million mark. We have Coosaw Country Club, and that's a gated community in North Charleston. It is a golf community, and you're going to find your $1 to $2 million homes in there as well, and even as low as $450,000. So that's a big range in the same neighborhood.
Huh. And you mentioned waterfront. Are a lot of the higher end properties waterfront?
A lot of them will be waterfront, and once you have, and waterfront here can mean 2 things: waterfront, beachfront, or marsh. You know, you can back up to a creek, or you can back up to the Ashley River. So it just depends on the area.
Are there any places where they kind of like build canals to create waterfront or access to stuff? None of that?
No, but you're going to have those canals, and those are going to be your older homes that have been there for some time and have been preserved beautifully. So that value holds. But you're definitely going to pay a lot more for water access.
And then for the less maintenance inclined person, do you have townhomes and neighborhoods with less maintenance, maybe even the high rises? Do you have that kind of thing, like the apartment style condos as well?
We do. Daniel Island is a beautiful city right outside of downtown Charleston, and they are going to offer a lot of condominium living style homes. We have townhome areas, and we also have something called paired homes. And those paired homes are like duplexes, but they're absolutely stunning. And once you step in, you can't even tell. And for the most part, I think that's the way builders are doing it now, where once you step in, they're just as big as a house.
And what about seasons? Is there a season down there? Do half the people leave when it gets cold? Right now, cold. I'll put in quotes, 60 degrees or whatever it is now. But is there a season? Do a lot of people kind of leave? Does it empty out when it gets colder, or how does that work?
Not really. I used to think that when I first moved here, I used to think that a lot of the homes over by the beach were more vacation homes. But a lot of people love it here so much that those beach homes are primary residences. We do have a lot of second home residents here as well. But for the most part, people don't really leave Charleston. And if you do leave, you keep the current home that you have because you want to come back to it.
That's a good endorsement. You keep it so you can come back. And can you Airbnb? People do that kind of stuff? You got investors buying stuff down there too?
We do have investors, and you can Airbnb depending on the town or county that you're staying in. There are different stipulations and rules for those Airbnbs, but we do offer it here because Charleston is such a big tourist town and hospitality. We have so many hotels. There definitely are restrictions on Airbnb, so you definitely want to ask the right questions if you're thinking about investing for Airbnb, because not all locations give you that option.
Yeah, and that's true of everywhere. We have Hershey, Pennsylvania here, which is huge, and they pretty much kind of like Orlando, I would assume. I assume Disney kind of clamps down on the Airbnb that's allowed in and around the Orlando area, and Hershey kind of does the same thing, I think, around that area and wherever you live too. People could clamp down if there's a big hospitality business there. So we will end it off. But first, we need to ask you the question that has nothing to do with real estate or anything that we've been talking about, but does have to do with you. What other profession would you do if you could do anything other than real estate? What would you do? What would you be?
That's a great question, because a couple of years ago I would have answered and said a teacher. But after doing virtual school this past year, I could definitely not be a teacher. If I could do any other profession, I would want to work with, in some capacity, in foster care. We were foster parents for years, and we had so many amazing kiddos that if I could just be a foster mom or have a house to bring kids into where we can have family meals, have family time, and do all things family, I would be the first one signed up for that.
You could do that, right? That doesn't seem like that hard to accomplish, right? And what? Your youngest is 7, so you got about 11 years, and then they'll all be gone, and now you just buy a bigger house and get a whole bunch of foster kids.
Yeah.
What would you make for dinner?
Pasta.
And pizza the next night.
Pizza the next.
And then pizza and pasta leftovers the next night after that, and then back to pasta again. That's fantastic.
Rice, beans, chicken, and plantains is a staple in my house. My 14-year-old, anytime she's going to invite friends over, she'll say, when are we not having rice, chicken, beans, and plantains so we can invite friends?
How do you make the plantains? You're making like the smashed ones or whatever, or how do you prepare them?
It depends what we're eating them with. If we're eating them with soup, I take the green plantains and I fry them, and then I mash those with a little bit of garlic, and we drop that in the soup. Or if we're going to eat them with rice and beans, one of my daughters likes the sweet plantains, so the yellow plantains, and we cut them. She likes them thin so the edges can be crunchy, and or we do the green plantains where you fry them once, take them out, mash them, and then refry them. And you can eat that with salt, a little bit of garlic, even some bruschetta goes well with that. Yeah, there's so many ways to eat plantains. You can boil them and mash them and eat them with cheese or fried eggs or scrambled eggs.
Can you eat plantains just like a banana? They don't come that sweet, do they?
No, they're raw. So you'd have to cook them. But once they're yellow, you can bake them in the oven.
Okay. So they wouldn't even, aside from the taste, it wouldn't be like you got to cook. It's like something that is too hard or it's just not good for, huh. All right. I didn't realize that. For some reason, I guess I've never cooked them. I've eaten them, but they've always been cooked and I've never cooked them myself. So interesting.
You need to
cool.
Go by a grocery store. The next time you do your grocery shopping, pick up a green one and pick up a yellow one, and you need to try it.
All right, I will. I'm going to go to the grocery store right after this, actually. And they're all right next to the bananas. It used to be hard to find that kind of stuff, but all the grocery stores have all the different varieties of everything these days. So that's awesome. And hopefully you can do the foster caring sometime in 11 years. If you can't do it right now, hopefully you can do it then. And read your information aloud, your phone number and your email and website, so that people that might be listening can jot it down if they need to.
You can call me or text me at 843-542-6214. You can email me at YGainesRealtor@gmail.com. You can learn a little bit more about me or search properties in the Charleston area at yourrealtorconcierge.com.
Awesome. And her information will be up or down or wherever you're watching or listening in the description, and links to all her socials, her Facebook and Instagrams and YouTube. You got a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel.
There you go. You can hit her up on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, and contact me if you need to buy or sell a house in central Pennsylvania or anywhere on the planet. I got a wide network of people, and I can hook you up with the right person in that area, just like Yajaira in Charleston, South Carolina. Call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. I want to hear from you. And like she said, she still needs inventory down there pretty bad, and we still need it fairly badly here in December. But when you're watching, hopefully it's a little bit better for those buyers out there. I got a bunch that are kind of waiting to go back at it. So hopefully after the holidays, we can do that. Thanks for everybody watching and listening. Thank you, Yajaira, for being here. Say goodbye to everybody.
Thanks for having me, Derek.